वेदं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं हरिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिने नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने। श्रीरासमानवी देवी दयाय कृपाभरे कृष्णसम्बन्ध विज्ञान दायिने गौरे नमः। माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपानुगवर्तिव श्री गौरा करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते। नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्ते दीनतारिणे रूपानुगा विरुद्धाप सिद्धान्तद्वान्तहारिणे। नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्ते विश्वम्भरसाम्भोगे आराम्भुजायते नमः। नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगावरायते। गौराविर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्देशा सज्जनप्रियः वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरविषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपीनाथान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। जयनाम सुरतोर्पङ्गुर् मामन्दमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्व फलाभूतो शाखामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमादः श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमद्राधा शीलगोविन्ददेवो दृष्टारि सेव्यमानं स्मरामि। श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भि वंशीवटतटस्थितः कर्षं वेणु स्वनेर्गोपीर् गोपीनाथाय श्रेयस्तु नः। तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। व्यास उवाच इति सम्पृष्टो विप्राणां महर्षिणे प्रतिपूज्य वचस्तेषां प्रवक्तमुपचक्रमे। सीत उवाच यं प्रवचन्तमनपेतकृत्यं वैपायनो विरहकातराजभाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तर्वो विनेदो तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। यस्वानुभावमखिल श्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपमतितीर्षितां तमोन्नतं संसारिणां करुणया पुराणतुल्यं तं व्यासशूलमुपयामि गुरुमुनीनां। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयामुदीरये। मुनयः साधुकृष्णोऽहं भवद्भिर्लोकमङ्गलम्। यत्कृतः कृष्णसङ्कृष्णो येनात्मा सुप्रसीदति पुंसान् बलो धर्मो यतो भक्तिरनुक्षते अहेतुकी अप्रतिहता यात्मा सुप्रसीदति वासुदेवे भगवति भक्ति योग प्रयोजिता जनयत्याश्रयराज्यं ज्ञानं च यतहेतुकं धर्मसंश्रित पुंसान् निष्कर्षेण कथास्य नोत्पादयेति ऋतं क्षमयेव हि केवलं धर्मस्य नार्थोऽर्थायोपकल्पते नावस्य कर्मिकस्य कामलाभायेषु सः कामस्य इन्द्रियाभीति नाभूचिन्द्रियावता जीवस्य तत्त्वजिज्ञासा नातो यस्येन कर्मभिः वदन्ति तत्तद्वैतत्वं विज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवानिति शब्दते तच्छब्दमुनयो ज्ञानवैराग्ययुक्तया पश्यन्ति आत्मनिष्ठात्मानं भक्त्या श्रद्धया गृहीतया वर्णाश्रमादिकादश धर्मस्य संस्कृतिरहितोषः तस्मादेकेन मनसा भगवान् सात्वतां प्रति श्रोत्रयाभिः ध्यायपूज्यस्य नित्यता यदनुसनायुक्ता कर्मग्रन्थि निबन्धनं चिन्तन्ति को विलासस्य को न कुर्यात् कथारतिं शूद्रस्तदानस्य वासुदेव कथारुचि श्यामसेवया पुण्यतीर्थाभिषेकः श्रवतां सदा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन विदग्धस्तो हि भद्राणि विदोमि सुसिद्धं नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिः भवति नश्यति यथा रजस्तमो भावः कामलोभादयश्ये चेतयेतेरनामिकं स्थितं सात्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगः भगवत्तत्त्वज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते विनये विद्यान्ति क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृश्यैवात्मनीश्वरे अतो नित्यं भक्तिं परमया वासुदेवे भगवति पूर्वमियामसादिनीं सत्त्वं रजस्तमैः प्रकृतेर्गुणैस्ते युक्ताकर्मपूषैर्यसासदते हरिविरिञ्चनरेति संज्ञा योताग्रे माया कल्पनेन सानिना मुमुक्षो गोलोपान् विद्वाभूतावतीनता नारायणकलाशान्ता भजन्ति अनुसूयः रजस्तमः समशीला भजन्ति वै प्रियभूतावतीशाली वासुदेव परामपा वासुदेव परायोगा वासुदेव पराक्रिया वासुदेव परज्ञानं वासुदेव परमपदा वासुदेव परधर्मं वासुदेव परागति सएवेदं सस्याग्रे भगवानात्ममायया सकलशत्रुपराचासो गुणमयं गुणो विभो तया गतिषु गुणेषु गुणमानिवा अन्तःप्रविष्टः काली विज्ञानेन विजृम्भितः यथा योगिनो भवति लाभैकस्वयुषु नानमेवाभिष्टात्मा भूतेषु सर्वथा असौ गुणमये भावे ऊर्ध्वसुखेन्द्रियाभिः स्वर्गेषु भूतेषु तद्गुणां भगवतेन शब्देन लोकान्वयोगभावनः लीलावतारणो लोकत्रयादिषु
So we are discussing the 9 stages of bhakti. While discussing the 9 stages of bhakti, we came up to anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti. So what is the meaning of anartha nivritti? Unwanted desires. Anartha. Is artha is anartha. artha and anartha. Artha means something which has some benefit. Anartha means what? Something which doesn't have benefit, which has no benefit, which has no use. That is called anartha. Which has meaning. Artha means meaning. And another one is what? It doesn't have meaning. So, if you speak something which has no meaning, then nobody values for that. If you have something which has no meaning, that becomes a cause of trouble for you, which has no use. For example, you have some big drum here in your house. When you are walking, it will be disturbance for you. It will become the cause of falling down, or it will become congested. That's like that. The same way, there are so many unwanted things which are kept in our heart, and that is known as anartha. You have physical objects in this house or some place, you can remove it physically. But what about those objects which are there in your mind, in your consciousness? How do you remove that? That is a problem. So many things which are not wanted, we are kept in our consciousness. So that is why it becomes difficult for us to really understand what is this anartha nivritti. So this anartha nivritti is a very long subject matter because so many different kinds of anarthas are there. Our acharyas have given a very simple way to understand the different categories of anartha. What are different categories of anartha are described. So we have this verse called Nashta Prayesha Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. What is the meaning of that? Nashtaha. Nashta means destroyed. What are destroyed? Abhadra. Abhadras are destroyed. How much abhadras are destroyed? Prayeshu means almost. Then some more anarthas are there, it is not that completely destroyed. So by continuing your bhajan, what kind of bhajan you are continuing? What kind of bhajan we discussed yesterday? Anishtita bhajan. Bhajana kriya ado shraddha tata sadhu sango tata bhajana kriya. That bhajana kriya is known as what? Anishtita bhajana. Anishtita bhajan means bhajan which has no nishta. Anishtita. So because of the anishtita bhajana kriya, so we experience so many 6 kinds of experiences when we are doing bhajan, obstacles. What are they? Anybody has any idea? Yesterday we discussed about it. One is khana taralata. Sometimes you do very strong, very sincere, and after some time. Then there is utsahamai. All of a sudden, more utsaha. Then later on. Like that, different kinds of anarthas are there in our heart. So now, because of the anarthas, these experiences are there. That is why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the second verse of the Shastra, what does he say? Nam namakari bahuda nijasarva shakti tatrarpita nimitaha smaranena kalaha etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan namapi durdaiva midrisha mihajani nanuragaha. Durdaiva means it's unfortunate. So though you are chanting, that is very fortunate. But what is the unfortunate situation? What is the misfortune? No taste. Having no taste, there is like you great fortune, you get a rasgulla. But what is the misfortune? Diabetes is also fortune. But if you have jaundice, you put the rasgulla in your mouth, what will happen? Nothing. Diabetes person has taste. Only thing is restricted. He cannot take the rasgulla. This is another problem. But like you have the holy name, you have everything, but you cannot do because you are tied up with so many things. You are very busy. That is diabetes. You cannot. Even though you have opportunity, you cannot take. Whereas a person who is suffering from jaundice, if you put rasgulla in his mouth, for him, how does it taste? Bitter. That is misfortune. So, this unfortunate situation of not having taste in the holy name, not having taste in the scriptures, not having taste in Krishna Katha, is because of what? Anartha. Now who can tell how many kinds of anarthas are there? There are 4 kinds of anarthas. How many? 4 kinds of anarthas. There are 2 ways of dealing with this thing. 2 ways of seeing different kinds of anarthas. The 4 kinds of anarthas which are described by Bhajana Rahasya in Bhajan Rahasya, and also in the Madhurya Kadambini, we will try to give a small overview of these 2 kinds of anarthas. Srila Vishvanath Cakravarti Thakur, in his Madhurya Kadambini, he talks about these anarthas, where these anarthas come from, why are we experiencing these anarthas. The first kind of category of anartha which he categorizes is that of anarthas which are born out of the previous sinful activities. So in the previous lives we have done so many sinful activities. Because of these sinful activities, these anarthas are coming in our heart. You don't know how is it coming, where is it coming from, all of a sudden. So many kinds of kleshas which we are experiencing, miseries we are experiencing. These all the anarthas which are because of the previous life sins. And there are some other kind of anartha. That anartha is known as the anarthas which we are experiencing because of previous life pious activities. You may say, hey, how can this be an obstacle? Pious activity be obstacle? How can it be so? You are saying that pious activities are very good. No, pious activities also gives you anarthas in the heart, unwanted things in the heart. Number 3, anarthas which is because of aparada. Anarthas because of aparada. Then you may ask a question, what is the difference between sin and offense or aparada? Papa and aparada. Those who have not accepted bhakti, what they do is papa. What they do is papa. For example, somebody drinks alcohol and he is not a devotee. That is called sin. When somebody accepts initiation, he is surrendered and he is chanting, then he drinks alcohol. What is it called? Arre? What is this? Same activity but 2 different names. Why? For other person there is no question of any offense for him. Why? It is like, to give you some, not exactly, but a monkey comes and snatches something from your hand. But somebody, a human, he comes and snatches something from your hand. What is the difference? Now, both are ignorant, but there is some difference. The monkey will not be put in jail, but he will Like you are going on the road and a buffalo is sitting in the middle of the road. The police will do traffic jam. You are going on the road, somebody has parked the car in the middle of the road. Traffic jam happened in both cases. But the buffalo will not be fined. He will be no challan. Hey buffalo, you have parked your body in the wrong place. So you have to pay 2,000 rupees. No, the human will be fined. Same way, if a normal person is just normal means in the sense that a simple person is drinking alcohol, Yamadutas will come. Yamadutas will come and take care of it. No problem. But if devotee does that, Yamadutas saying, what we should do now? We go and arrest him, we will be arrested because he is a devotee. And at the same time, he has done some simple activity and that is called offense. So that is called aparada, offenses. Then you have fourth kind of anarthas coming because of improper performance of bhakti. So 4 sources of anarthas. What are the 4 sources of anarthas? Sinful, pious activity, aparad, improper performance of bhakti. Technically, they are known as dushkruti, dushkrutotha. Utha means born or arising from. So the offences arising from dushkruti or sin. Then sukruti uttha or sukrutotha means offences arising from pious activities. So I can understand offences arising from sin, I can understand. These offences arising from sin are kleshas, unnecessary troubles. And so much of excessive attachment for something, suffering because of attachment. And hatred for somebody or something. That is all dushkruti hote. Means only a sinful person has these tendencies. And these tendencies are not very favorable for devotion. They are anarthas. They are anarthas rising from that. And there are anarthas rising from sukritotta. That is a desire for facilities, desire for name and fame. These are the kleshas which are coming out of sukritotta. Now, we see the dushkritotta is being described like this. There are different stages of ignorance which are known as avidya, asmita, raga, vesha, abhinivesha. 5 stages of ignorance. First one is avidya. Avidya means forgetting my real position, that is called avidya. Forgetting that I am servant of Krishna. And that leads to what? Asmita. I am this body. Asmita. And anything related to my body is mine. That is called asmita. Then comes, since I am this body and this is mine, I have an attachment for it. This is mine. And I cannot live without it. That is called raga. And then when you get something, when you expect something, and I get happiness from this, definitely it will not give you happiness every day. Even if it gives you, it will not give up to your expectation. Then what is there? Vesha, you hate. That is what has been seen, that you hate a person whom you loved once. Whom you loved once, you hate. 2 brothers, they lived together, they are so happy and they are fighting in the court after 10 years, after the father died. They were together, running the same business, they served the father. But what happened? Small dispute came. Same plate they were eating, same cycle going to school, everything. All of a sudden what happened? They are fighting. So when you get attached to somebody or something, when you expect some happiness, when that person doesn't live up to your expectation, what happens? Hate that person. So when you hate a person, ultimately Vesha, you are abhinivesha, means death. Death is not just physical death. You feel disgusted and you feel that I have to give up my body. What is the use of my life? And this is all because of dushkruti utta, dushkrutottha, sins. Sins performed in the previous life leads to these 5 things in our heart. And there is something called sukrutottha. The sukrutottha are nothing but the desires which are there in our mind. So many desires. Desires for enjoying objects of this world, desiring objects in heavenly planets, desiring siddhi. Siddhi means some perfections. I am sitting here and you think, oh, I want to get that thing. Prapya siddhi. I want to fly in the air. I want to show that I am better than you. All these things are what? Desires. So when the desires are there, some kind of happiness is there. But they are not fulfilled, then suffering comes. So the desires which are there in the mind, they give you some kind of happiness. Shruti Sukhaya. Heard about this word? Shruti Sukha? Not only good about you, they give you some illusory, oh, if you go there, this happens. Oh, is it so? If you get this in mind, then there is some enthusiasm comes, some sukha comes. That is called Shruti Sukha. Neither you are going to get. You know, it is so wonderful. Oh, is it so? Huh? Because just by hearing, you have not eaten that, you have not seen that, you have not got it. You talk about something, and then some sukha somebody is experiencing, Shruti Sukha, you also feel some happiness about it. So it creates a desire, and the desire itself is giving you some kind of happiness. Of course, when you try hard to fulfill the desire, that gives you suffering. When you don't fulfill the desire, that gives you suffering. But somehow the desire itself makes a person continue his life. Otherwise, why anybody should live, tell me? There is some desire, that is why people are living. Desire means a hope that if I get it, I will become happy. There is a hope. Otherwise, if there is no hope, what will people think? What will people think of? Suicide. Why people come to suicide? No hope.
Is that desire and hope is same?
Yeah, a hope that I will fulfill the desire. Desire is there.
Okay.
Hope means that I will fulfill my desire. That is why I should live.
Hope makes you live longer,
Yeah,
not
hope
the
to-
desire.
Yeah. Hope to satisfy the desire. Hope for what? Satisfying the desire. So ultimately then what happens? The desire is not fulfilled, frustrated. Again another hope. I'll fulfill. In this way a person continues his life. Ultimately what happens? He dies. And he is born with the same desires. Why a person continues his mental existence? Desires. So desire for 3 things. Desire for heavenly enjoyment, earthly enjoyment, desire for heavenly enjoyment, and desire for liberation. Siddhi and heaven and liberation. 4 examples. Now there are some aparadotta. Aparadotta means those which are born out of aparad. Now we have different kinds of aparadotta. So sin and aparada, these are 2 different things altogether. Offenses and sins are 2 different things. Now this aparada is of 4 kinds. What are the 4 kinds of aparada? There is seva aparada. Means when you are worshipping the deity, there are some offenses which happen. And there is Nam Aparad. Nam Aparad. What is the meaning of Nam Aparad? When you chant, if you don't attentively chant, then that leads to Nam Aparad. And then there is third kind of offense, that is Vaishnava Aparad. And then there is fourth kind of offense, what is known as Jiva Aparad. Jiva. Offending the Jivas. These are all different aparadas. So since you have a good understanding of these aparads, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu talks about the Seva aparads. And also it talks about Nam aparad. And you know Vaishnava aparad very well. Why you know? Why you know Vaishnava aparad very well? Something which happens every day, you know very well. Seva aparad can be contracted by Nam aparad. Nam aparad can be contracted by Nam aparad itself. Nam itself. Aparad with Nam is enough to contract Seva aparad. And Nam aparad is enough to contract Nam aparad. But one aparad which cannot be contracted. What is it? Vaishnava. So we will not talk about the Vaishnava aparad much because there is a different subject matter. But we should know that these are the offences which actually are there. Now, Srila Vishvanath Thakur in his Bhajan Rahasya, he says these anarthas are of four kinds. We discussed anarthas of four causes of anarthas. That is, being born from sinful, then vice, then offences, then improper performance. Now, because of these four aparadas, anarthas are born. When they are born, these anarthas are how many kinds? There are four kinds. Number one is asatrishna, tattva vibhrama. Asatrishna, tattva vibhrama. Now, what is the meaning of asatrishna? What is the meaning of tattva vibhrama? Tattva vibhrama means what? Brahma means illusion. Illusion about tattva. What is that tattva? Four. Truth. Swatattva brahma. Swatattva means not knowing who I am. Paratattva brahma. Not knowing who is Supreme Lord. Or misunderstanding of Supreme Lord. Misunderstanding who am I. Swatatve bharatatve cha. Then sadhya sadhana tattvayoho. Not knowing what is sadhana and what is sadhya. Sadhya means what? Goal. Sadhana means what?
Practicing for that.
Yeah, what is the process to achieve the sadhya sadhana tattva. And then there is fourth kind of Brahma, tattva Brahma. What is that?
Misunderstanding or not knowing the real God.
Yeah, no. First is not to understand proper tattva about ourselves. Who am I? Number two, not having proper understanding of Supreme Lord. Number three, not having proper understanding of sadhana and sadhya, the process and the goal. And the fourth one is not having proper understanding of virodhi vishayaka. Some people may think that in America when Prabhupada went, people were thinking that by smoking ganja you can have better meditation. It will help you in meditation. Like somebody will think that I can chant the names of Krishna very nicely when I am sleeping. And the best way to chant Hare Krishna Mantra is what? Lie down. Some people will think the best way I can do my devotional service is that I will build a big palace and then a separate room exclusively for chanting Hare Krishna Mantra. So for that I had to earn 2 crore rupees. And after the 2 crore rupees, what will I do? I will build in that will be a separate room. In a separate room, I will be sitting alone because my wife and children are just troubling me. I am sitting chanting and they are talking and I am getting disturbed. So what I should do? What I should do? Make a room, separate room. This house is not good for me to chant Hare Krishna Mantra. I should have a separate room for myself. So these ideas come definitely. So these are known as Virodhi Vishayaka Brahma. It is known as Tattva Vibrahma. Swatattva Brahma. Tattva Brahma, Tattva Vibrahma has got 4 things. Swatattve, Paratatve cha, Sadhya Sadhana Tattvayoho, Virodhi Vishayacheva, Tattva Brahma iti uchate. It is known as Tattva Brahma. Now, what are the kinds of Brahmas a person can have about Jiva, oneself? First Brahma is what? To think I am the body. And when the body dies, the Jiva dies. So this is the first general Brahma. And another Brahma is what? The Jiva is God. That is Maya. There is Bhautik-tava. Bhautik-tava means materialistic. And there is Mayavad. What is it Mayavad? They think that the Jiva is God. I will become God. There is Shunyavad. What is it Shunyavad? Everything is zero. The Jiva doesn't exist. God doesn't exist. You are experiencing trouble because you are existing. Like you get hurt in the hand. Somebody puts a knife. It's paining. Why is it paining? Because there is a hand. No hand, no pain. Good idea. No hand, no pain. What a nice philosophy. It's called Buddhism. So that is why the Buddhism leads a person to intoxication, drugs. So when a person takes drugs, he wants to forget I exist. You finish off your existence. But our philosophy is not that. The real philosophy is you have to finish off your material existence. The pain is not because the hand is there. The pain is because the wound is there. You want to cure the wound, not cut the hand. Just because you have some problem, you instead of clearing the problem, then what do you try to do? Commit suicide. People commit suicide because they have a problem. Instead of trying to solve the problem, trying to get rid of the problem. That is Shunyavad. I want to get rid of it. I want to get rid of you. I want to get rid of myself. So these are the Brahmas. That is materialism, Buddhism and impersonalism. These are the 3 levels of material attachment. Where do you find that? Which verse of Bhagavad Gita? Very good. Vita, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. Vita means giving up. Raga, material attachment, materialism. Then there is Bhaya, Mayavad, impersonalism. And there is Krodha, Buddhism. So these 3 are nothing but the Swatattva Brahma. Swatattva Brahma. And these 3 concepts are not somewhere else in the books, in the Mayavadi books or in the impersonalistic books or in the Buddhism books or in Karl Marx books. No. They are right in our consciousness. And they do Tandava every time, every second. They are dancing on our head. First one is what? Raga. I cannot live without you, I cannot live without me, how can I live without you? I want it, I want it, I want it. And that leads to what? Maya. Get lost. I don't want it. Like you must have seen a child crying for I want it, I want it, I want it. The parents don't give. And the child gets frustrated, gets angry. The parents feel very compassionate. And then they take the doll, whatever the thing is, the toy, and give it to him. Nice it. जब मांगा वो टाइम मैंने दिया मैंने आज you did not give, I don't want it. So that is what happens. You get those things what you wanted at the time you don't want it. Isn't it? Anyway, so then you get frustrated out of it. So raga, bhaya, krodha, this swatatra bhama. Swatattva means forgetting who I am. And that Brahma leads to think I am my body, that I am this body, to think I am God, to think that I am nobody. Today Srila Prabhupada disappears day. In Pranam Mantra what is there? Nirvishesha Paschatya Deshatari. In the Paschatya Desha, in the Western world, people were completely drowned into these two concepts of Nirvishesha, Shunyavad. Nirvishesha means Mayavad or impersonalism. Shunyavad means Buddhism. That is why if somebody really wants to progress in spiritual life, Sambandha Jnana should be well established in the heart. Means to know who am I. Who am I? If you perform devotional service without understanding the constitutional position of the living entity very nicely, then you will be struggling. What is the constitutional position of the living entity? I am servant of Krishna. When you think that I am servant of Krishna and then perform devotional service, and that devotional service is actually pure devotional service, you will not be struggling with your anarthas. That anartha will not be there. Swatattve. And the second anartha is within this thing, that is Swatat Tattva Brahma, Tattva Vibrahma, or Aparal. Second anartha is in this particular category. Paratattve, to see the Supreme Lord. So what are the Brahmas regarding the Supreme Lord? What is the illusion what a person can have about the Supreme Lord?
Formless.
It's formless. It's impersonal. And then?
He is just an ordinary person.
He is an ordinary person. Mayavad. Is another thing that when the Lord appears, he is affected by Maya. Krishna's body is made up of Maya. And what else? What else can be the illusion about the Supreme Lord? He is one among the demigods. So many demigods, he is also one among the demigods. And it doesn't exist for him. Again the same thing. Materialistic people, they think if at all God is there, he is one among the demigods. He is only for my satisfaction. Oh God, give my daily bread. If he doesn't give me bread, he is not God. Instead of bread, if he gives idli, what will you do? You ask for bread, he gave you idlis. You ask for idli, he gave you dokla. What do you call such God? No use. I ask for something, he gives something else. So, this is one kind of understanding of God. God is order supplier. Srila Prabhupada uses this word, order supplier. I order and he supplies. Sukha sampatti garave, kasht mite dhanaka. हे भगवान क्या लागे तेरा, तेरा सब कुछ मुझे अर्पण. You don't require God. Do you think God requires something? If He requires something, then He is not God. He is Atma Rama. So, since He doesn't require anything, because He is self-satisfied, and I require things, so what He should do? If He is God, He should give to me. What to speak of God? Even human being. You don't require something, I require something, and you have it. What you should do? You don't require. So, this materialistic idea of materialistic person about God. Then when they get frustrated, they think God is there. But He is what? He doesn't listen to us because He doesn't have ears. He doesn't have legs, so He will not catch you. Even if you offer something, He will not accept because He doesn't have hands. He is Brahman. And you are also Brahman. You forgot that you are Brahman. That is why you are suffering. Once you know that you are Brahman, then there is no suffering. Because Brahman is bliss. Brahman is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma. Yeah. And third misconception about God, what is it? All the problems are because of Him. Why He created this world? Somebody asked. Why God created this world? Full of suffering. Why is He created this thing? So what we should do? The world is full of suffering. If you don't want suffering, what you should do? There should be no world. If there should be no world, then what? No, who should not be there? So no God, no world. And no world, no. Very, very nice philosophy. No God, no world. No world, no suffering. So the best way is to just say, understand God is not there and He's not there. Kill Him. If He tells He's there, just kill Him. It is Shunyavad. Zero. Everything is zero. Nirvana. Now, third kind of Tattva Brahma. What is the third kind? Sadhya, sadhana. Sadhya. So how can you attain God? What is the sadhana for a materialistic person to attain God? Attain Krishna?
Chanting.
Materialistic person. In Brahma, we are talking about Brahma. That your devotion service, that is true. Work is worship. Karm hi puja hai. Karm hi puja. Go on working. So that you will become a very glorified donkey. Because you have worked 55 years without taking a leave. Every day you have gone to the factory before time. And you have done overtime without claiming money for that. And you have produced so many tons and tons and liters and bottles of alcohol in the factory. There is alcohol factory is working. And that is why you are the best karma yogi. The Karma Yogi of the Year award goes to you because you always support the management. You never made any unions. And you worked hard. And because of you, the company has grown, made so many profits. And you were so successful in destroying many families. So you are the Karma Yogi. Krishna is very happy with you. Actually, you are a personification of these words. Karmanyevadikaraste mamal. And because you become useless, we are retiring you. So for them, to attain God, what you should do? Just work. Then for a Mayavadi or a impersonalist. What is your idea of attaining God? What is the process for them? Huh? Just give up everything, including God. Chanting, God has no name. Worshipping, he has no form. Don't chant, don't worship. What should I do? Silence. We should talk about him. How can you talk about him? How can you talk about God? He is Anirvachaniya. He cannot be known. Somebody cannot be known. How can you speak about him? You speak about whom? About a person whom you know. And a person who cannot be known and who cannot be described. Can you describe God? You cannot describe God. So why are you describing? Silence. Keep quiet. If somebody asks you about God, what you should do? Smile. Because they are ignorant. They don't know. Okay, then if somebody is too ignorant, you can tell them. Worship Krishna. When you understand that your worship is useless, you come to me. When you attain the knowledge that worshipping Krishna is useless, chanting the name of Krishna is useless, till then you can do that. But once you understand that you are God, you are Brahman, then you should give up everything. Give up chanting, give up everything. So giving up everything, including bhakti, give up your house, wife, children, giving up bhakti, everything. Just go and just to meditate. Giving up. The process for them is give up. When somebody thinks sannyas is a process, that is my word. When somebody thinks sannyasa means to give up, is called that is not the process. If I give up something, that doesn't make you closer to God. So sannyas is the process. They think like that, but it is not. Now, third one. What is the third one? What about God? What about the process of the Buddhism? Mayavadi's process is silence. And then what is the process of Buddhist? What is their misunderstanding about the process? Intoxicate. Intoxication. You forget yourself. There are two ways they try to forget themselves. One way is to do some sattvika, rajasika or tamasika practices. The tamasika practices of forgetting themselves is kung fu, karate, ninja and all these things are there. They want to make sure that their consciousness doesn't exist. They practice, their practices involved in these kind of things. There is rajasika practices and sattvika practices which are there, by which they want to convert the consciousness into matter. Means I doesn't exist, I don't live only. Emotions are the problems. So what you do? You crush the emotions. When you crush the emotions, when you make yourself jada, jada means hard-hearted. Your body also is hard, nothing. There should be no difference between your body and your stone. There should be no difference between if you see someone crying, you should not cry. Like a stone. If you cry in front of a stone, what will happen to it? So you should make your body. There is a process for them. And tamasika process is also there. What is that? When somebody is totally drunk and then lying on the road. If somebody is crying, we cry or what? So take drugs. Forget you are there. You don't exist only. So these are the practices which are found around the world. It is coming from Shunyavadi practices. And what is the goal? We discussed about the materialistic people's process, sadhana. What is the sadhana of a materialistic person? Enjoyment. So whoever gives enjoyment, that person becomes God for me. How do you define God? He is Anandamaya. So anybody gives me Ananda is? If my wife gives me Ananda, who is she? If she is the same wife is giving suffering to me, then I'll find somebody else, because that Ananda is gone to somebody else. Very dangerous philosophy. Krishna is Anandamaya Abhyasat. So for them, materialistic person, whoever gives bliss, they become God for them. So don't trust any materialistic person. Suppose mango is giving you Ananda, mango. So for them, mango becomes. And after some time, summer season is over, then what happens? Mango is gone. So they'll say, no, God is not gone. It has gone to some other fruit. So like that. In this way, the materialistic person, their God changes depending on
Who gives enjoyment?
who gives enjoyment, or at least their expectation of enjoyment. Suppose somebody is going to Ganesh temple every day, and then examinations came. Lord Ganesh, please pass me the examination. He failed. No, I go to some other temple. Then he go, Jai Jagadish, is good. There's something there. And it so happens that he passes the examination or gets something. He says, God. And what happened? He passed the examination. But it so happened, in so much of happiness, he went with his friends to some party or some excursion or some adventure, and he fell down, broke his leg. Then he says, oh, Durga ji, what you have done? Then you find somebody else for that. So you go on jumping. So there is no stira. As much as their mind is astira, their goal is also astira. And what is the goal of Mayavadi? What is sadhya for the Mayavadi?
No, one with God.
I want to become God. Isn't it? God is Ananda, so materialistic person thinks I will get Ananda from him. Mayavadi is more intelligent. He says, why I should get Ananda? I will become him only. Isn't it? Huh? Why I should get money from the bank? Huh? I will become the bank. Why you should ask the government? I will become the government. That's not, you don't have to ask anybody. So I will be that God. So ultimately everybody is seeking for happiness. But because of sadhya sadhana brahma, then the Buddhists, what is their sadhya brahma? What kind of brahma they are regarding sadhya? Zero existence. They say nothing exists. Nothing. There is no Ananda only. Because if there is Ananda, then there is trouble. Because what is the experience in this world? Everybody is having trouble because they are trying to get Ananda. The more you try to become happy, the more suffering is there. So happiness is not there, only suffering is there. So if you want to remove suffering, what you should do? You should remove happiness. Your quest of happiness should be given up, because there is nothing called happiness. So there is no God. So I am just giving you these things because these concepts, they are all in your concept, in your consciousness. Now, swatatve, paratatve cha, sadhya sadhana, and then there is one more. What is that? Virodhi Vishayaka Brahma. What is this Virodhi Vishayaka Brahma? Like smoking. Materialistic people think when पेट पूजा पहले बाद में
दूजा काम
what बाद में what
काम करो कोई दूजा
पेट पूजा खाली पेट ना क्या
वही भजन
हाँ खाली पेट आपका पेट कितना बड़ा है कितना चाहिए 4 चपाती 5 चपाती पेट भर जाएगा लेकिन मन भरेगा आपका पेट आपके मन में है जो कभी पूरा ही नहीं होता है पेट भरता ही नहीं है so those people would say that first खाली पेट भजन ना what is it what exact words what are the exact words something like that empty stomach no bhajan can happen first you fill your stomach but the stomach is not this stomach is here and that never gets filled up so that means the other way of telling is I don't want to do bhajan so first fulfill your material desires which is not going to be fulfilled then you will so virodhi vishayaka to think that comforts and some desires fulfillment of the desires will help me in and what do Mayavadis think what is there virodhi vishayaka they think in this world everything is virodhi every object every person is antagonistic to bhakti so let me go to a place where there is nobody where there is nobody but there is no place in the world where there is nobody because everybody is in your mind that means some people say what do you say पहले पाप से मुक्त हो जाओ बाद में भजन करो पहले बीमारी से दूर हो बाद में दवाई लेना all these philosophies where do they come from ये भक्ति करता है आपका क्या भक्ति करता है बड़ों का आदर देना नहीं आता पहले वो सिखाई को महाराज जी what does that mean they want to say that bhakti should be done after you have become purified so this kind of thought process are coming from the Mayavad philosophy they think that everything in this world is virodhi so even my mind actually everything is in mind so they try to control the mind so that they want to do some spiritual practice later so trying to control the mind and senses without taking shelter of Krishna that is actually Mayavad trying to control the mind and senses without taking shelter of Krishna that is Mayavad you have the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita 62-63 2 verses what are they ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंस संगस्तेषु उपजायते संगात् संजायते काम कामात् क्रोधो विजायते संगात् संजायते काम कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिर्भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशात् now these 2 verses are talking about whom a transcendentalist who is trying to control his senses but without taking shelter of these 2 verses are not talking about a materialistic person Do snakes fall? They are already fallen down. Pranashyati means what? Fall down. So, materialistic person already fallen down. There is no question in fall down for them. Who falls down? One devotee came and told me, Gaudiya, I heard that devotee fell down. I told, oh, you are so high, that is why you fell down. We have no opportunity to fall down. Already on the ground. We can only see. It's good. It is just gone up. Isn't it? Huh? So they are more advanced. Those who fall down are more advanced than us because they went up and then came down. They're not even gone away. Neither we have decided to go up also. Like, so this transcendentalist, Jayato Vishyan Vamsa. So what is he doing, Gyan? I should not think of sweets. Sweets are very dangerous for me. I have diabetes. Especially Rasgulla, which I like most. I should never even look at it. So what are you thinking of? Huh? So the Ayatha Vishyan Vamsa. Then what happened? Okay, little bit is okay. Sangha stage puja. Not much. Then, how can I live without it? Sangha stage, Sangha Sanjayate. Then you cannot live without it, so you go and ask. So I go and ask. Our Bharadwaj Prabhu, Bhagavad Prabhu, एक रसगुल्ला नहीं जाएगा डायबिटीज then what is Sangha Sanjayate Kama? Kama Krodho Vijayate. Anger comes. And anger leads to Krodhat Bhavati Sammohat Sruti Brahmschat and Buddhi Nashat. So these Mayavadis, they say Jagat Mithya. You go and ask them, can you help me out? My wife is suffering. Jagat Mithya. You tell a boy, take sannyas. Then he says, boy says, मेरी माँ, वो माँ नहीं ये माया है. And gradually what happens? With this philosophy, it starts with all this kind of philosophy. And ultimately, you will find, what is he doing? Opening an old age home, having an anath ashram, having a hospital, having a school. And that is what practically all the Mayavadi organizations, what are they running? They are not running any mathas anymore. They are not teaching any Vedanta, not even Shankara Bhashya, nothing. What they are doing? Social activity. The same society which they have criticized as Maya, they are doing the same thing now because Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. The same thing you criticized. Now you do the same thing. The thing what you criticized as Maya and you are involved in that. Now tell me which Mayavadi organization is teaching Vedanta, Shankara Bhashya. Nobody is teaching. They should know, then only they can teach them. Very few they are trying to do, but they are all involved into philanthropic work. Prabhupada talks about it a lot. So then, Buddhism, Virodhi Vishayaka. Then comes the drugs. If I take drugs, it will enhance your meditation. Japan, they are very crazy about incense. Incense sticks. Because they say that if I put this incense, then my meditation becomes better. So different moods, all these things come, different incense and all. So actually it is a kind of a drug which makes you feel that if I get this, then my bhajan or my meditation becomes very, very nice. No, meditation is independent or bhakti is independent of all the material situations. Anyhow, there are some favorable things, but that doesn't mean that every thing what you think as favorable becomes favorable. Virodhi Vishayga, something which is Virodhi also becomes the thing that is favorable for me. So in this way, Tattva Brahma. So this is how the result of the different offenses we have done in the previous life, that results to aparadha, that results to anarthas. So there is another category of anartha. What is it? Aparadha. There are 4 kinds of prana. What are they? First one, seva prana. Second one, third one. So we know very well about the first one. What is it? Seva prana. Seva prana means when you worship the deity, then a lot of offenses happen. Whether you want or don't want, it happens. When you are chanting, what happens? When you want or don't. So you come and say, Prabhuji, when I am chanting, so many offenses are happening, so I should stop it. Is it intelligence? When I am doing worship of the deity, so many offenses are happening, what should I do? Stop worship. Wow. Then, Prabhuji, भक्तों के संग में बहुत अपराध होता है. What I should do? Either they should get out or I should get out. Jiva Prad, that you don't even bother about. Because they are jivas, devotee. They are non-devotees. I am a devotee, you are all devotees. They are non-devotees. That itself is offense. Why? Vamsho Jivaloke Jivabuddha Sanadana Manasashtan Indriyani Kritisthani Kashati. So everybody is a devotee. And what is a devotee, non-devotee? Have you ever seen Prabhupada writing non-devotees? The word? I never read many. Sometimes he must have used. But this word non-devotee, practically you hear everybody speaking. Our purpose. Non-devotees. They are non-devotees. Created a term. Even Shakespeare would have not. When completely bewildered. What is this new words that coming in? Is this English? What is this non-devotee? All jivas. All are jivas. Actually, there is no question of devotee and non-devotee. All are devotees. And some have forgotten and some are trying to remember. All are devotees. Some have forgotten and some are who are trying to remember. Some have forgotten that they are devotees. And some are trying to remember. Who are trying to remember?
Who come in association.
We are all trying to remember. We are all trying to remember. Do you remember that you are devoted 24 hours a day? If you remember that I am a devotee, Amaiva Amsha of Krishna 24 hours a day, then you are a Bhagavata. Then you are a great Bhagavata. Uttamadikari. Very advanced devotee. What is the meaning of sadhaka? Struggling. Struggling for what?
Achieving perfection.
To achieve perfection. What is perfection? It's too big. Smartavya Satam Vishnu Vismaratavyo Rajasi. Sarve Vidishedasya Yedavai. This is perfection. What is perfection of sadhana bhakti is this. Bhakti Rasamrita is clearly mentioned. The perfection of sadhana is to come to the stage of Always remember Krishna.
Never
forget.
Remembering Krishna means what? Remembering your relationship with Krishna. Like remembering Father means what? To know that I am his son. That is called remembrance. Sometimes when you hate someone, then also you remember. You hate someone, you remember. But that is not called remembrance, because you are remembering that person without understanding your relationship. That is called, that is not called remembrance. No, I am remembering too much, so much of remembering. Because, how do you remember? Kansa remembered Krishna. Kansa, 24 hours you remember Krishna. Perfection of life has come. But his remembrance of Krishna was without understanding that I am servant of Krishna. At least he should have remembered that I am Mama of Krishna. Mama. I am uncle of Krishna. He did not even remember that I am uncle of Krishna. He wanted to give up the relationship with Krishna, though he was remembering Krishna. So, remembrance means remembering Krishna, that he is the Lord and I am his devotee. So, there is nothing like non-devotee here. Everybody is a devotee. Even an ant is a devotee, even a Brahma is a devotee. An elephant is a devotee, everybody is a devotee. Even a drunkard is all devotee. So all non-devotees are devotees. And those who think there are some non-devotees, they are not devotees. Anyhow, so Jiva Parad starts with this concept of forgetting that everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. This is how it starts. So these are the 4 aparadas. Then comes Hridaya Daurbalya and Tuchcha Sakti. These are the other 2. First one is? First one. We discussed about Tattva Vibhrama. Then Aparada. 4 kinds of Tattva Vibhrama. 4 kinds of Aparada. 4 kinds of Tuchcha Sakti. Asakti. Tuchcha Sakti. And 4 kinds of Hridaya Daurbalya, weakness of the heart. So what is Tuchcha Sakti? 4 kinds of attachments. Attachments for Aihikeshu means objects of this world, and objects of heavenly, and Siddhi, perfection, and liberation. So desire for petty material things, desire for heavenly enjoyment, desire for Siddhi, desire for liberation. So these are the 4 kinds of Tuchcha. And then you have 4 kinds of Hridaya Daurbalya, weakness of the heart. That is being envious, hatred, and desire for material objects and attachment for it. So these are the 16 varieties which are found in the scriptures about what? Aparada. Now, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. When you go on continuously doing Bhagavata Seva, what is the meaning of Bhagavata Seva here? There are 2 kinds of Bhagavatas. Who are the 2 kinds? Book Bhagavata, and there is one more. What is it? Bhakta Bhagavata. By continuously going on reading Bhagavatam, chanting, in spite of all this, anarthas. In spite of all these anarthas, you continuously go on doing. You don't know how long this anartha nivritti is there. This anartha nivritti is indefinitely long stage. Then you reach the platform of nishtha. The bhaktir bhavati. See the purport for that.
Bhagavad Sevaya means by service to the devotees of Bhagavan and service to such as hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. By serving the devotees in Bhagavatam, the major portion of Nam Aparats, Abhadreshu, becomes weak. This weakening of Aparats continues till the stage of Rati, Bhava. Naishtike refers to Nishtha, where the mind can easily concentrate on the Lord. When the anarthas are for the most part destroyed, the devotee attains the stage of Nishtha.
So now, Srinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana is referring to what stage of bhakti? Bhajana Kriya, which is known as Anishtita. And then Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki, that is Abhadrani Vidhunoti, that refers to Anartha Nivritti, and Nashtaprayesh Abhadreshu Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki, that refers to what kind of bhakti, what kind of bhajan? Nishtita bhajan. Nishtita bhajan. So there is Anishtita bhajan, then there is Anartha Nivritti, then there is Nishtita bhajan. Nishtita bhajan means that you are a fixed up devotee. You heard about a fixed up devotee? Fixed up. That is called Nishtita. Means whatever may happen, you are continuing devotion. So, the stage of bhakti in which nishtha or nischala has arisen is called nishtita bhajana kriya. Even when someone desires to daily perform the limbs of bhakti, such as Shravana Kirtan, if he is still in the stage of being bound by anarthas, then he will be unable to make the performance of bhakti steady on account of following 5 most irreversible obstacles. So what are the obstacles which come because of bhajan, anishtita bhajan? There are 5. Laya, vikshipta, apratipatti, and kshaya, and rasaswada. So I am not going to talk much about it, just to give you an idea. Drowsiness, distraction, incompetence, और करके देख लिया प्रभु, बहुत करके देख लिया, हम भी ऐसे ही थे. And then bitterness. Somebody told me, when I put my hand in the japmala, in the bead bag, and touch the japmala, I feel that I put my hand in a beehive. Beehive. What happens in the beehive? The bees will come and fighting you. So, bitterness. And ultimately, rasaswada. That is, when I am chanting, I am thinking about so many things, and then trying to enjoy in my mind so many things. So all these things are there, which of course we will not talk about it now. When we have some seminar on Madhuri Kadambini, then we can talk about it. Okay, so we go further and then see. So giving up all these 5 things which are just discussed, nishtha in kirtan and so forth is actual nishtha. And this is understandable given that Srimad Bhagavatam 1:19 states that it is only when nishtita bhakti awakens within the devotee's heart that he will no longer be hindered by passion and ignorance or lust and greed. Thus situated in Shuddha Sattva, he'll achieve true happiness. So what is the next verse? Bhakti bhavati naishtikim tata rajas tamo bhava kama lobha vayiste Chetayeter naviddham chitam satte prasidati. So at the level of nishtha, passion and ignorance, they don't affect. From passion, lust. From ignorance, greed. Rajas tamo bhava, kama, lobha. Rajas and tama, kama and lobha. Rajas is kama and tamas is lobha. So in this way, we have come to the platform nishtha. Now the question arises, at the level of nishtha, does a devotee experience miseries? Does he experience miseries or not?
Yes.
Why? Anartha nivritti is over?
Almost.
That is why the word almost is used. Almost over, but still there. So, nishtita bhajana kriya can be compared to, and anishtita bhajana kriya can be compared to this. Two devotees are sitting and chanting Hare Krishna mantra. And from behind somebody comes, takes a pin. Hare Krishna. And behind somebody comes. He's doing bhajan, but it's very much. Another devotee is sitting chanting Hare Krishna. And that person comes and again takes the pin. And what does he do? Jo karna kar. Hey, go on, bring it. More and more. Then what happens to him? Kuch fayda hai isko pata. I am wasting my time with him. Let me go and catch those devotees who are disturbed. So, it is not that this person is not feeling the pain of that person's disturbance taking. But what does he say? What does he say? You do your work, I do my work. What is my work? So this is called what? And then after Nishtha, one more stage comes. What is that? Ruchi. At the time of Ruchi, you are experiencing so much of this. You don't even know that he's spinning. Why? Because you are experiencing so much of taste from bhakti that any distaste is caused by the material nature through someone or some circumstance. You are not even aware of it. You are not even aware of it. So that is called Ruchi. And after Ruchi, what is there? Asakti. And that is like almost you are experiencing the love of God. So that we discuss tomorrow. What is it? Asakti, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Temperament. So I took more time for Anartha Nivritti because we have to know what are the obstacles. So also we'll discuss about how to come to Nishtha and how to come from Nishtha to what? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, 20. Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day today.